And we are live. Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock. It is Tuesday, October 5th, or at least that's what I changed it to in the doc. Whether that's true or not, I honestly have no idea. Tuesday, I'm pretty confident with. I am Josh Engelman. I am joined by two men, Terry McBride, Eric Lindquist. We are here to break down Yankees, Red Sox. This one's going to be fun. Tomorrow's is going to be less fun, but this one should be pretty good. I'm excited for it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Let's see. Who am I going to start with? Pointing at the screen. Eric, how's it going?
Oh, you got to start with the non-Yankees, the non-partial person over here. I'm feeling good. The Twins are mercifully done playing baseball this season. Thank God. I don't have to deal with that crap anymore. I guess I haven't been dealing with it since June, but I digress. This is going to be a really, really fun game to watch. Looking forward to it. Excited to talk some strategy for MLB Showdown because it can get a little weird.
Terry, go Sox.
Oh, come on. That's how you're going to open with me? I was waiting. I didn't know if you were going to throw it to me or if you just wanted me to chime in, and then you throw me a go Sox. Jeez. That's it. After I do the courtesy of shoehorning my way into this show that you guys were supposed to be doing as a two-man too. God, yeah, that's how we know it's October, though, man. Big Yankees Red Sox game. You know, that's the only reason I know it's October. I think it's the 5th, like you said, but yeah, it's October baseball. Looking forward to it. Should be fun to break down the fantasy aspects, all the regular baseball aspects of it. Should be a good game too.
I'm starting here with you, Terry, because your Yankees are in this game. Do you like this single game wild card format?
No, not at all. I think it should be a 3-game series at worst. A 3-game would be very interesting, a little bit more fair. I think making teams, work for it, especially with a finish like what we had, just putting it into a 1-game and then getting just these two teams just for 1 game kind of sucks. So I prefer the extended formats.
Winner gets the raise, correct?
I believe so.
Whoever the highest, most wins on the other side. Yeah, it'd be the Rays, I'd assume.
Tough beat there. Very interesting for tomorrow as well, because there's a bit of a gap in the records of the two teams playing tomorrow. So we'll talk about that one when we get to it. We have simultaneously a lot and not a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to do our best. We're going to have plenty of time to take questions at the end. We're certainly going to give out dong picks at some point in time during this. We're definitely going to talk a little bit about Prize Picks. They are the presenting sponsor of this show, but we will have very little time to waste. We just have too much to talk about today. Something like that. All right, we're going to kick it off.
You didn't say NBA preseason.
No, that's people have been asking me a lot. I don't mess around with the preseason. I don't mess around with summer league. Those are things that I need a set it and forget it sport for NBA. And as much as regular NBA is that, I cannot be doing like 6 hours worth of combing through beat writer tweets to find out if Joe Random is going to play 8 minutes or 12 minutes today and how that matters. It's not for me.
I believe that name's pronounced Obi Toppin.
Yeah. Rinpack does it better than us. So there's really no point in trying to do that. I remember grinding really hard on preseason like 2 years ago to absolutely no end. It was awful. And Rinpack just won everything. So I just figured, you know what? I'll let him enjoy that.
Well, maybe I don't want to take his thoughts given the 100% Josh Allen from this past Sunday. So we'll see where we end up there.
Yeah. Good times in Vegas. Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk pitching. I'm going to throw it to you, Terry, to start this one off. I'm going to give you your boy, Garrett Cole. How are you feeling about him heading into this start? He hasn't exactly been building momentum making his way into this one.
No, not at all. But there's nobody on the team, or really there's not many people in the league that I would rather have making this start. I'm confident in a Garrett Cole. If you're taking his whole track record, we're ignoring the last couple of games. Baseball's wacky. We all know that. I don't think it's an issue of him wearing down, tiring toward the end of the season, hiding an injury, any of that nonsense. So if we get 6 out of Garrett Cole here and the Yankees don't win, they've got no excuses. I mean, that's the dream here. I think 6 and hand it over to the bullpen. I'm expecting a 5 and change inning start and then probably go to the pen for a special situation, a high leverage spot, get him out of there early. But if he's rolling, we could see a nice deep start here. And obviously he can be dominant. This Sox lineup though is very good at not striking out. We know all about the power here. So it's a big challenge for him for sure.
How are you feeling about his health?
About his health, I'm fine. I don't worry about that at all. I think he's there. I think that's, anything where there's rumors coming out or any word that we would have seen. I think it's just, issues where it's speculation about stuff that's not anything that anybody has any information on. So it's nothing I'm worried about unless we're getting it straight from them.
And then finally, he is currently projected for 74% total ownership on DraftKings, 38 at the captain spot, 36 at utility. That is the most exposed player of everyone. Eovaldi is pretty close. Next closest hitter, oddly enough, is Brett Gardner, which I wouldn't have guessed at first, without seeing projections and stuff. Does the ownership concern you at all?
So on the DraftKings slate, somebody asked about pitching earlier, and on the DraftKings slate, I ran off a crunch that was just using, looking at what are optimal lineups, right? And for baseball, that's a very flawed concept just with the way that baseball goes. But I dashed off 300 off the top with no randomness, just one unique. And Garrett Cole landed in the pitcher spot and the captain spot every single time in those 300 lineups. So, I mean, that says something about how we've got him projected as compared to the rest of these guys, more than it says something about the utility of using him in that spot all those times. But I think he's got, if you're looking for a guy who's going to run off and hide with a fantasy point score today, Garrett Cole is your most likely candidate on the board. So I think it does make sense. I think it's for me, I would be looking to target under that because I always am with massively owned plays. But I think it makes a ton of sense to get a lot of Garrett Cole into your lineups tonight.
All right, Eric, we're going back to you. Same sort of questions. How are you feeling about Garrett Cole for tonight? He's unquestionably the better pitcher in this matchup. Is that interesting to you? Does the ownership worry you? He's in 3/4 of the lineups right now.
Yeah, which is kind of why I'm maybe citing on going a different direction. And I'm going to have Garrett Cole. I mean, you should be playing pitchers, no question about it. In Showdown, they're the two best plays, him and Eovaldi in this one, and there's no way around it. But if you're trying to win a tournament with 30,000 entries and you're trying to find paths for things to work out, a 5-1 Boston, playing relievers, which we're going to, of course, about, and everybody's looking forward to that for sure. But Garrett Cole, there's no question about it. There's been some issues here now, 15 earned runs in his last 3 outings. That's not very Garrett Cole-esque. The K's have been there somewhat still. I mean, nothing over 7 in his last 4 outings. It's a little bit different as well for a guy that routinely was putting up some massive outings. He's got 15 and 10 sandwiched in his last 10. So, I mean, is the upside there? Yeah, but on a showdown slate, I'm happy to be much, much lower on the field and taking my shots elsewhere.
Terry, are you expecting to be playing bullpen guys today?
I don't love that approach. I mean, I think it's on the board, right? But we're guessing between a lot of different spots where if you're going to do it, I think it pays to do it in the format where you're telling a narrative about the game to do it, right? Because we're not looking to pick off one inning out of Michael King, Jonathan Loizaga, one of these guys who might come in, pitch one high leverage inning. That's probably not going to get us there. But if you're telling the story where, all right, the Red Sox lit up Garrett Cole over 2 innings and then they yank him and somebody's getting 3 or 4 innings in that mid-range, then I think you could look to guys like Domingo Germán, who are a starter by nature, but somebody who's capable of throwing 60, 75 pitches, whatever they need to come out of the bullpen. Germán hasn't pitched since Friday. He threw 32 pitches on Friday, so he's got some room there. You could also see Chad Green in that role, but Chad Green threw 24 pitches on Sunday. So a lot of the regular bullpen arms worked on Sunday. They all had Monday off, obviously. But I think if you're looking for those guys who might give you a little bit of depth, and I think that's the right way to approach this, just by saying, all right, look at it as if the starters are getting lit up and getting yanked early. And on the other side with the Red Sox, I think, you could look at, maybe Garrett Richards, maybe Nick Pivetta, guys who are starters by trade who have innings in their arm rather than somebody who's used to pitching one high leverage inning, I think are, more my targets anyway.
Eric, we've got Cole at 74% ownership, Eovaldi at 63. Do you think that makes sense? Should they be that close? Do you have a preference between the two?
See, when you put it like that, it makes me feel stupid because absolutely Eovaldi is a worse pitcher than Garrett Cole. And as far as accumulating fantasy points, which is what we should be giving a shit about, 25.5% K percentage for Eovaldi up against 33.5% for Garrett Cole. But Eovaldi does get a Yankees lineup, I think, a little bit more susceptible to strikeouts. So for me, just kind of being at or around the field. For me, it's just simply building towards more of the bats that I think fit into lineups. We got kind of a strange construction to this lineup, I think, from the Boston side compared to what I was expecting. Schwarber leading off, that doesn't surprise me nearly as much. They've been having Kiki leading off here forever, but given that they just decided to go Plawecki in the 7-hole, there's like an interesting construction where maybe I don't need the savings to go as much reliever and you just jam in both pitchers a bunch. But in terms of trying to get different, I think just having more Eovaldi makes sense to me, just because I think there is some upside with this Yankees lineup, a little bit more so even than Boston.
Where's your head on Eovaldi, Terry?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to play him. I think, probably pretty aggressively, like Eric was just saying. It's an instant spot where you can get at least a little bit different than a lot of the field that's going to Garrett Cole first, but there's still going to be tremendous weight on them. So both pitchers, I'm probably going to end up underneath where the field is projected for, but I think it makes a ton of sense to roster both of them in different lineups. Both of them together, I think, is both price prohibitive and a little bit just difficult to get to a good lineup that I like. You're playing a lot of the guys from the bottom of the lineups. But I'll say the same thing on the other side for the Yankees lineup here that Eric was saying about the configuration of the Red Sox. If you look at that Yankees lineup, it is a strange version of it. The top 4 hitters are all dominant, excellent, awesome players. But then you get Glaber at 5th, and then you're immediately in a tailspin with Brett Gardner, Gio Urshela, Kyle Higashioka, and Andrew Velasquez. Not exactly murderer's row there for my Yankees. So we saw them just the other night too, with their lives on the line, only come up with no hits, I think, through 6 innings. It's not a team that does sequential hitting all that well. They rely on their power. They're very good at getting on base via the walk. So Eovaldi's got to get through that. But Eovaldi had a 4.6% walk rate on the year. Very, very good walk rate. He's pretty good at getting himself out of trouble if he gets into it, doesn't give up a ton of hard contact, 36.2% hard hit, 6.3% barrel rate. So I think it's a good spot for an expectation of Eovaldi pitching pretty clean. I like this game to probably stay pretty tight, maybe a couple home runs or a couple runs scored through the early innings. Both these pitchers pitch fairly clean, and then we get into just like the high leverage portion of the game, and we'll see where it goes. But I think that's the most probable game script if we're looking at it.
Who do you want to have more of? And I need a DFS answer here.
Yeah,
you can give me a life hedge answer if you want, and just say Eovaldi, I want 100%. I don't want any Cole, and if it works out for me in real life, I'll take it.
Yeah. Look, it's probably going to be along those lines anyway. It's the better DFS play to go to the guy who's a little bit less expensive, the guy who is getting a little bit less ownership if you're making gun to your head decision between these two guys. But like I said, I want to be under the field, but I want to have decent amount of shares of both of them across 150 lineups if I'm going that way. If I'm building one lineup, I think I'm probably just taking the points with Cole and trying to get different with bats, to be quite honest. But that's not an easy path to follow and get different with. So it's probably the flawed answer.
Eric, I believe you said earlier that you were looking to have more Eovaldi. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Well, if you're playing one lineup, the right answer is both pitchers more than likely. And that's probably the right answer for a lot of things. And you're going to see that considering what their ownership's at. More often than not, there's going to be a lot of 2-pitcher in the utility. It's hard to get one in captain and really like some of the bats. It's just hard to get different with some of the bats because you're going to value immediately. But we see this in MLB Showdown a lot. And, we didn't necessarily see it as much during like an all-star game format, which is the last time a lot of people played MLB Showdown in any kind of a meaningful way. But for me here, Eovaldi, I like getting to a little bit more from a game theory perspective. And, if I'm going to get to a little bit more of the Boston side, which is kind of what I'm planning to do, I feel like public attention and looking at some of the ownership, there is some value to be had, and leaving salary on the table is a little bit easier for me if I go the Eovaldi route and I play to more narratives where something's wrong with Garrett Cole, because obviously the field with 75% plus of Garrett Cole does not feel that way.
My current most optimal lineup, if I lock both pitchers, which for anybody that's using Fantasy Cruncher, if you try to do this, I promise you are going to fail the first time you do it. You have to change additional settings. Otherwise, you're just going to think that you cannot do this, but you can. The highest projected lineup that I ended up with has Garrett Cole and Nate Eovaldi, Kyle Schwarber, Anthony Rizzo, Alex Verdugo, and Brett Gardner at captain at 6K. And I know immediately people are just like, what? Brett Gardner? Captain? That doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. Au contraire, Brett Gardner, the third most owned player on this slate behind the 2 pitchers right now on DraftKings, and the most owned projected captain today at 4.4%. That's the most interesting piece here. And I don't mean Brett Gardner. We have 60, we'll call it like 66% of captain ownership going to Cole and Eovaldi, and the highest individual hitter is 4.4%. So if anybody's got this question of like, can I use so-and-so in the captain spot? The answer is unequivocally yes, because ownership does not really matter. Now, you do want to think about, will this guy potentially get pinch hit for? Well, how likely is he to see every one of his plate appearances? That's a real discussion. But when push comes to shove, ownership can't really dictate a captain decision. Are you surprised by the ownership of captain, Terry?
That it's on Brett Gardner? I mean, yes, but the price is what's driving it, right? He's a $6,000 captain play. So I mean, yeah, that's what's driving it. The fact that he's hitting sixth helps him out a lot. He's left-handed, so people love that. Although we're talking about a guy with a 32.9% hard hit rate, a 3.4% barrel rate, 222, 327, 362 over the course of the season, and he created runs 7% worse than average. So limit your expectations, regardless of him hitting six or being left-handed. I love Brett Gardner more than anybody. His T-shirt jersey's in the other room, but we're at the tail end. He was better over the second half, but this is a flawed old man of a player at this point in his career. So I'm not expecting much from him. But I think based on price, the ownership, of course, makes sense.
So we've talked probably enough at this point about Cole and Eovaldi. We talked a little bit about the potential for diving into the bullpen plays. Eric, is there any mechanism that you would go to a reliever in the captain spot today?
Yeah. So, it's tough. So I've been debating this because you do have 4K and going through the reliever pool, there's one guy that just kind of sticks out pretty automatically, and that's Aroldis Chapman. So right now, if I pull up Chapman, he's the one guy who's at 4K. You got to be assuming that he sees this game just about no matter what. And so if you're trying to play something that's like a quote unquote secure reliever and putting him up in the captain spot, I don't see a possibility where Aroldis doesn't get in. Playing him up there to get different away from the bats, like the opportunity cost, I think he's still going to be utilized in the utility a little bit more so than what we've got projected. And so I think he's probably the one pitcher most people in their mind say, yeah, he's going to be the guy. That makes me want to go to guys like Ottavino from the Boston side, getting a little bit different, even trying to find some of these middle relievers that are over 4K, which is really a freaky proposition. I mean, that's like a 1 in 150 and you're happy to burn that money. That's kind of the only route for that. But I think Aroldis Chapman's the only one that I would be, hey, I would captain this. I feel not great about it comparatively to the guys that are 6K playing them in the captain spot, those 4K hitters. You've got 3 of them to choose from. But if I were to get super different, if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to be completely different from the entire field, playing him in captain is probably the way to do it.
Terry, since September 1st, Aroldis Chapman has 25 strikeouts in 13 and a third innings. Seems to be back at least a little bit. 16.9 Ks per 9 innings. Is there any interest for you, Terry, in a reliever at the captain spot? Yeah, obviously, we're talking like large field GPPs here.
Yeah, and that's exactly where you're looking to do it. Somewhere where differentiation is going to be crazy important, where you're going up against a couple 100,000 lineups or 50,000 or whatever the case is. Yeah, I think that's the spot where you want to make this play. You're doing it for the discount, obviously. You're hoping, like Eric was saying, he is incredibly likely. I would say barring a Garrett Cole perfect game, I think Aroldis Chapman is extremely likely to get into this game because they use him to secure an inning when they're down a couple of runs. They're going to use him, obviously, when they're ahead. And you're talking about a guy, 56 and a third this season, 39.9% strikeout rate. He walked a ton of hitters, 15.6% walk. He's always walking that knife edge. So it's a bit of a dangerous play, too, if you're making it. You're also throwing a left-handed pitcher up against this Red Sox lineup that is fairly good at bringing power against lefties, although no JD Martinez is a bit of a boon there. But yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense. If you're going to a reliever in that captain spot, that's probably the one and only guy that you should be considering doing it with, unless you're really, really trying to play that narrative of one of these guys steps into 3 or 4 innings. And then you could maybe get away with it.
Edwin Nieves in chat seems to be mad that we're not talking about FanDuel. My apologies, Edwin, but they do not include pitchers, and this is the pitchers section of this show. I couldn't talk about FanDuel right now if I wanted to. Promise they're coming because I'm quite confident Terry is playing FanDuel today, but we don't have any pitching takes for the FanDuel side because they don't exist. My bad. Are there any other pitchers that either one of you want to touch on? Terry, we'll start with you.
I mean, just looking at the list of guys who are somewhat likely to see the game, like I was talking about before, I think on the Red Sox side, Matt Barnes, incredibly likely to get a high leverage type inning. Adam Ottavino, same thing. Josh Taylor, similar story. Garrett Whitlock, similar story. And then if you're looking for the guys with a little bit of length, maybe you're looking to Nick Pivetta, maybe you're looking to Eduardo Rodriguez. Eduardo Rodriguez also might get in the game if there's a situation where they got to get a big lefty out as well. They might use him in that role. On the Yankee side, we talked about Chapman just now. You've got Jonathan Loaizaga, who could give you a couple of innings or give you a high leverage role. Similar story with Chad Green. I think Luis Severino is going to be reserved for just a high leverage inning. Nestor Cortez from the left side, if you want a long man. Luke Lutke as a situational lefty. I think all those guys could see the game. Michael King is another guy who could potentially give you a high leverage inning or a couple of innings. But really, if I'm making that bet, like I said before, I think Domingo Germán is the most likely guy if Cole gets lit up and they're looking for just a little bit of length out of somebody.
What about Chad Green?
Yeah, Green was in that list. I think Green
I didn't hear you say Chad Green because he's the only other pitcher that I have from the Yankee side in my pool. The problem with a guy like Loaizaga, I can't even pronounce his name correctly because every time I see it, my head explodes. But you're a Yankee fan, 0.97 whip on the season. He's a really good pitcher, but he's 8,400. And then you try to play him in a captain, a captain would be out of the question. But it's so hard for me to want to play a guy at 8,400 that, you're going to need him to strike out the side to beat anybody who puts up 7 points from a hitting perspective in that same salary range. So he becomes a tough one for me, but Chad Green is the only other guy that I have interest in from the Yankee side, just because he's at that flat 4K. Is there anybody from the Yankee side flat 4K? Because I think you did a good job with the entire Red Sox side.
So I don't have the relief pitcher pricing just immediately in front of me, but I think those are the two guys, right? Those are the two guys that you frequently see come out of that bullpen, and maybe they give you an inning in a third, an inning in 2/3, even 2 innings sometimes is on the table, particularly actually for both of them really, but more recently, particularly for Loaizaga. But you can get a handful of strikeouts out of each of these guys. They're commonly coming into games striking out 2 to 4 hitters, depending on the length of time that they're getting in there. So that's exactly what we're describing in terms of what we're looking for out of these guys. I just think in this kind of pressure cooker playoff situation, plus wanting the idea of, we're going to need these guys if we advance, I think they probably limit them to an inning apiece. I don't know that we get that inning in 2/3 out of a guy like Chad Green, unless the Yanks are down by 3 or 4 runs. And let's hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, there it is.
All righty, guys. Free content for today. MLB Showdown ownership. I believe you've seen it on the screen. It is free for today, so you guys can use that if you're interested. PGA rankings, also free. What's the PGA event this week, Eric?
Oh, we got the Shriners. We're out in Vegas, TPC Summerlin. It's good times.
There we go. Good time. Well, since we have infinite time today, thoughts on Brooks and Bryson?
Oh, sorry, I'm Brooks and Bryson. Sorry, I was just referring to Jordan Klein. I threw the good times in because Laffy's in my head now. He's got a prime real estate beachfront property in my skull coming up of, apparently I say good times 45,000 times, or my guy or my dude. And I'm over it. But anyway, Bryson and what? Bryson and Brooks, is that happening?
I believe that is now the match coming up in Vegas for Thanksgiving. Way to cover your actual sport here.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. I wore the polo just to fake it. That's what it is. Didn't play college golf. Oh, wait, I did. That's cool. I feel good about it. That'll be a fun one. I've kind of just been busy studying relief pitchers because why wouldn't I be today, the next 2 days? Looking forward to firing some of those guys up, and then a couple pinch hitters and things here from the MLB side. So I didn't even see that news. Thank you for breaking it for me.
By the way, they're playing 12 holes.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Dumb. Yeah, but they're both dumb, so it makes sense.
Does the loser have to fight Jake Paul or something?
That'd be so great.
That's stupid.
I'd pay for it.
I would watch anybody beat Brooks's face in. That'd be so fun.
I've been buying a lot of that garbage that's been showing up. So I bought the Holyfield one. That one was brutal.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that
Nice.
neither here nor there. What is really awesome, and it's not the Holyfield fight, it is the Awesemo Hall of Fame, and we have been littered with fantastic new additions and some people that have been in for a bit, but get to double down on their plaques, I guess. First guy up, we got to talk about it, and I know we've touched on it a few times. Rich Green pulling off 560,000 in showdown from Thursday, I believe, if I'm going off the top of my... Yes, it says Thursday in the graphic. That helps me. Could have just as easily been Monday. All the days are the same. So shout out to Rich for pulling the split in the millie for 500K. Carlos Manzo pulled off... Yep, that's a first 5K. This graphic isn't as easy to see. I was hoping to see which tournament it was in, but it was on FanDuel, and there's an Awesemo logo in second as well. Can't beat that one. There's the lineup. So Heineke, I like it.
Beautiful.
As a Washington football team fan, lapsed at the very least, it's nice to see Heineke there. Patterson, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore. That's a hell of a lineup. So congrats to Carlos Manzo on that one. Oh, there's the top. Lefty Bear 5252. I got to give the shout out to you as well. Came in second with the Awesemo logo as well. Can't beat that. What else we got here?
Awesome.
Gotta make this thing bigger on my screen. So I bought a Mac earlier today, and I'm still trying to get my bearings with this bad boy. So I'm clicking all over the place. I'm trying to maximize screen windows. That shit's on the opposite side than everything else. It's really hard to deal with. John Jeff picked up a first for 20K out of, that must have been a high dollar entry there. But either way, 20K in the Bengals Jags game. Kudos there. Dan Vita picked up $2,000 on $94 of entries from the Monday night game. And then we got to hit on another one. This just seems to happen every time now. Neil Orfield, friend of the program and fellow Awesemo.com employee, picked up another first in a showdown, $299,000. There's the music. A little late, but, it's fine. I'm sure Jordan had way more important stuff to be doing during this show. Neil split with 4 people, chopped up that millie for $300,000. You can catch him on some shows that definitely happened that I don't know off the top of my head, but for sure
Thursday night, I believe, right, for the next showdown.
That was for showdown, right, on this past Thursday, right? He was on.
I think so. And I think his tweet is plugging his next showdown appearance and saying, if you want to get this kind of advice.
I mean, is it any surprise that Neil Orfield does a show with me and then the next week wins $300K? I think not. I might be onto something with first shows. I'm a first show wonder. That's what I am. Josh knows.
I was $30,000 richer thanks to my first show with you. So I kind of need to do something to be like, how could I do it again? How can I have another first show with you? Do I have to be a different person?
Maybe just cloning.
Your sport,
just clone me, and then the world would be a better place for sure, right?
I mean, we could try switching sports first. That might be a lower bar.
See, that might be it. You got to do a PGA DFS show with me.
I could do that. That's fine. Whatever gets me $30,000 again would be sweet. I will have zero problems doing that again.
Damn, I've done how many shows with you? I've gotten none of your luck, Eric. Thanks.
Love you. Bye.
Appreciate it.
All right, how do I make this not full screen anymore? All right, got it. We're good. What are we on to? I don't remember who's next. All right, time to talk about the worst team in baseball, the New York Yankees. But first, 733 people in here. We're north of 100 likes. Let's keep running it up. This is as good as it's going to get, everybody. Yankees, Red Sox, 1-game playoff. We're here for you guys, so hit that like button if you can. Terry, I guess I have to start with you. If you could only roster one New York Yankee bat, who would be your priority?
That's a good way to put it here. I mean, my guy Aaron Judge is probably the easy answer off the top, right? That's always a good go-to. He's not the leader in my home run model. That would be Joey Gallo, who I think is a fantastic play. Not looking directly at the ownership, but I mean, if we're talking about the captain ownership, which is extremely low for every hitter, basically, we can kind of pick whoever we want in some of these spots. Like if you go Joey Gallo, you're talking about a 4% owned captain. If you go Aaron Judge, I assume he's on here. There he is. You're talking about, similar 3.5% owned captain. So, I mean, these are already pivots from everybody who's just putting the pitchers in the captain spot and moving on from there. But really, anybody out of those top 4 Yankees is going to be a pretty dynamite play if we're just talking projection-wise. After that point, it comes down to what you can do with the pricing and the flexibility there. So if you don't want to spend the 14.7 on Aaron Judge, I think Anthony Rizzo out of the leadoff spot for 12 grand is a pretty spectacular play.
I can say that I ran my sim earlier. The Yankees came up pretty significantly more frequently than the Red Sox did. Brett Gardner was first because of his price tag. Anthony Rizzo was second, so I appreciated that mention. And then Higashioka and Velasquez were 3, 4. Eric, do you have any obvious priorities? Any guys that stand out most to you from the Yankee side?
I mean, Joey Gallo is 7,400, and you're getting a discount on him from Anthony Rizzo, from Stanton, from Judge. He's got tons of power. For him to be $400 more than Glaber against, a righty, I'm looking at Joey Gallo as a piece that, if I want somebody to go nuts from the Yankee side, it's him. Aaron Judge is 9,800. It's a little cost prohibitive, but I'm not going to play as much Garrett Cole as the field. And so I'm going to also be over the field on Aaron Judge. And I feel pretty confident about that one as well. It's going to be kind of between those two. Stanton at 8,800, that's kind of the freaky one for me where, I don't believe in hot streaks, but the guy was absolutely on a crazy heater until the last week here. And I'm looking more at Gallo up against a righty Judge and kind of making that my 2 big stands. You're trying to isolate who could possibly be hitting the home runs, who's going to be doing some of the damage. Focus on the overall construction of your lineup, finding ways to get different, avoiding duplication, all the normal things we talk about Showdown all the time. I'm just making it more centered on 2 hitters from the Yankee side. And those are really going to be the only 2 I have in like a meaningful way from that side today.
So that I can stop getting yelled at, Terry, who are some of your favorite Yankee options on FanDuel? Is there anybody standing out that's at a price tag that's not as synonymous with DK?
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking similar stories, right? We're only talking about one lineup, so the answers are going to be very much the same from a baseball point of view, and the sites have priced these guys pretty similarly. Like just looking at my conditional formatting, the green is where the green is, the yellow is where the yellow is, and the red's where the red is. So it's all kind of the same across the board. Joey Gallo stands out for a $6,000 price when you've got Aaron Judge at 95, Giancarlo Stanton at 85. So start there. And then if that's not enough value for you, you can go to the bottom of that Yankees lineup, but you're really dealing with a lot of diminishing qualities you get there. I think everybody likes Higgy. He's had a few big moments for the Yankees. He's got a 207 ISO over 211 plate appearances this year. He's hit 10 home runs. He's also hitting 181, 246, 389 for the season, creates runs 29% worse than average, and is a major pinch hit risk if there's a spot where Gary Sanchez's bat's going to make more sense. Even though they hit from the same side of the plate, even though Garrett Cole prefers to pitch to Gary Sanchez is a much more lethal hitter than Kyle Higashioka. And I think Aaron Boone's willing to recognize that and send him up there in the right spot. It's probably going to be late in the game. It probably won't kill you, but that is in play for Higgy. And I think that's something that maybe people are like, I don't understand why there's not a little bit more ownership on Joey Gallo here. And I think maybe people are considering Joey Gallo as somebody who might get pinch hit for late in the game just because of lefty, and people massively overrate his lefty situation throughout the course of the entire season. He's a spectacular hitter, lefty. So people should get that out of their heads. So I think that's maybe suppressing his ownership there. But yeah, for me, it's all about Gallo at the low price. If you're looking for a discount, easy go-to play. And then if you can get to the other extremely good hitters above him, put him in.
I assume we're on the same page here. Brett Gardner is likely to be pinch hit for at some point in time. Mm-hmm. At least the most likely. More likely than Gallo and Rizzo as lefties.
Yeah, no, it'd be Velasquez for Odor. In some capacity, I think Sanchez and Odor go 8-9. And if I had a guess, and this is just me working what I'm thinking about, I bet Odor bats 8th, and then you have Sanchez bat behind him at 9th at some point during the course of this game, just so that, you get more power on the back end of it. So if I had a guess, that 8-9 is probably going to come at the same time.
Yeah, and the Yankees do have Greg Allen on the roster. That's what I wanted to check, just who can fill in that outfield role.
For sure.
So, yeah, and Greg Allen is at this point faster than Brett Gardner. Greg Allen is also capable of playing the outfield. So that was my concern with, all right, if they pinch hit Brett Gardner, who's going into that outfield spot? They could go with the Aaron Judge in center, Joey Gallo in left, Giancarlo Stanton in right alignment of this outfield. They don't love doing that, even though Judge is perfectly capable of playing center. Joey Gallo actually is as well. So they could do it with those guys and just get somebody in and then back out of the game for Gardner and move on. But with Greg Allen there, yeah, I think that's definitely in play, the pinch hit around Brett Gardner. But I agree. I think it's definitely probably Velasquez that's going to get pinch hit for before that. Although he does hit from both sides of the plate, he does have a little bit of speed. There's just more reliance on Rougned Odor to be able to hit the ball out of the park from the left side of the plate in a big spot. So yep. I think that's one we're very likely to see.
Michael Pulisic thinks that Joey Gallo is atrocious. Terry, what do you say to that?
I say that Joey Gallo's one of the best hitters in the league. I don't really care about his
351 xWOBA this year, 123 weighted runs created plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's stop caring about batting average, stop caring about strikeouts, and you'll realize who the good hitters are. Is basically my take on it. Joey Gallo, let's
18% walk rate, highest walk rate on the team by 5%. How about that? Does that count for anything too?
Yeah, I believe
slow.
Yeah, I believe among qualified hitters, that was in top 3 in the league, second in the league. 18% is second in the league to Juan Soto's ridiculous 22.2%. He's not Juan Soto. Juan Soto also strikes out 14.2% of the time and has a 221 ISO. Gallo walks 18% of the time, second best in baseball, but has a 34.6% strikeout rate and a 259 ISO. We accept those trade-offs. Joey Gallo has a 351 on base percentage. If you're going to give me that and you're going to give me titanic power, he's hit 38 home runs this season. You don't care about the strikeouts. You don't care about batting average. These are the things that we care about in modern baseball. Joey Gallo's created runs 23% better than average this season. No brainer.
Eric, is there anybody that you'd be willing to roster as a hitter that isn't starting for the Yankees?
It would be, for me, because I think Gary Sanchez will get clicked on once or twice, I would go to Odor. I think Odor probably is the guy who I see multiple paths for him to probably get into this game, and not just Velasquez, but I think, I doubt Urshela would get pulled in any spot where they were facing a righty. And I would be thinking would be on that 8-9 spot, either Higashioka or Velasquez. Odor just is also somebody that has some serious pop here in this spot and has less name recognition than Gary Sanchez. It just feels maybe a little bit, maybe I should rethink that simply because salary is still a thing. And, it's going to be harder for people to want to click on an expensive Gary Sanchez as a pinch hitter as opposed to Odor. So maybe I'm overthinking that one a little bit, but I think it's definitely Odor if you're just saying one or the other.
Is there anything else you want to touch on from the Yankees hitters?
That is all we got, I think. I understand the Brett Gardner thing, and it's a huge talking point of the slate. He's batting 6th. I'm in the camp where I would just rather do anything than roster a chalky Brett Gardner.
I could understand where you're coming from on that one. Terry, any other Yankees you want to touch on?
Yeah, it was just Fangraphs gave me that thing where his name wasn't popping up as I was trying to pull him up because they don't have his minor league stuff in my sheet here. So bear with me just 1 second. I want to pull Andrew Velasquez up because I think he at least bears talking about, right? We think he's probably going to get pinch hit for. So you're running a little bit of a risk there. But over the course of his minor league career, he does have some interesting numbers on the board. He's got a 12 home run, 29 stolen base season in AAA in 2018. 4 home run, 2. No, that's not enough. This season, 7 home runs, 29 stolen bases at the AAA level, also spending some time in the majors. At the major league level, 1 home run, 4 stolen bases in a limited amount of appearances. But he's a guy that's capable of creating runs and producing in multiple ways. There's the other season I was looking for. 9 home runs, 18 stolen bases in 2017 in AA. 50 stolen base season if we want to go all the way back to A-Ball in 2014, but I don't think we need to go that far. My point is he's got a little bit of speed. He gets on base for us. He's capable of creating runs, and he's going to be somebody that not a lot of people are looking to from the bottom of the lineup. So in a spot where we've got to roster basically everybody across 150 lineups, don't leave him out of your pool.
All righty. Computer just freaked me out. It switched to dark mode because it got dark enough outside. Everything just went from bright to not bright. It scared the hell out of me. I was not ready for it at all. What I am ready for, though, is to talk a little bit about our presenting sponsor, and that would be Prize Picks. This is going to be a good one. We got a couple prize picks to give out for you guys. You don't have to deal with sharks, optimizers, mass entries. You just have to pick 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 players that are available on the board to go over or under their projected scores. If you correctly pick a 5-player lineup, you can get net up to 10x your entry fee for NBA, MLB, WNBA, NFL, even esports. You can download the app in the App Store or Google Play. Make your first deposit using the promo code Awesemo. Get an instant match deposit bonus of up to $100. Guys, you put in 100, they give you back 100. you will never find that good of a contest to get into. Take the money right out of the gate. It's going to help you out. I'm going to hit you guys with a couple prize picks. I want your choices. Terry, I will start with you. Garrett Cole, over under 35.5 fantasy points.
These are constructed similar to FanDuel, if I'm remembering correctly.
Correct.
Yeah. I have him projected under that, actually. I have him coming out of the game. My model's got him coming out of the game a little earlier than I'm comfortable with. So I've got both of these pitchers separated by only 3 points in my model. So it's a little closer than I'm comfortable with. But yeah, I've got him going under.
I've got them with like an 8.5 point gap. So that's, for one, interesting. Eric, Garrett Cole, over under 35.5 fantasy points at Prize Picks.
I mean, I would be taking the over on that, even though from a game theory perspective, I'm going to be under on Garrett Cole. I think that makes sense. I also understand that maybe the one part of this game we haven't talked about is just how quickly somebody can get yanked in a jam in this game compared to a regular MLB season game. And so you're looking at some extra, what would be 5%. Garrett Cole gets in a jam, which he's been in a lot of jams in the last couple outings. I've been watching a lot more Yankees baseball than I'm comfortable saying out loud because they've been playing meaningful games and interesting games. But Garrett Cole, a lot of times getting 2-3 on board here in spots, gets in these high leverage places, and you're going to get the hook quick in a one game take all kind of scenario, more so than you would in other spots. So I think that probably needs to be factored in a little bit more. I think it's more of a stay away for me, just thinking about it from that angle where, you know, the chances of Garrett Cole going 6 is just drastically, not maybe drastically, but minimally lower than what it would normally be, just because of the one game take all kind of spot if he gets in any kind of trouble. But as far as a pure projection looking at it, I would be taking the over.
I have him at 37.2. So I would be taking the over, but it wouldn't exactly be a smash for me. Eric, I'm going right back to you. Nathan Eovaldi, 26.5 fantasy points.
So Nathan Eovaldi actually has the over for 5.5 is our top on the MLB player props tool, which is updated for this game. Love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. 14% expected ROI. And Eovaldi, I'm just going to be bullish on completely going up against a Yankees team where, you know, you listed off Joey Gallo there right off the bat, 34.6% strikeout rate, but Higashioka, 28%, Stanton, 27%, Judge, 25%, Urshela, 25% plus. I think Boston, I mean, they don't have, I think, as good of a bullpen as what the Yankees do. So I think maybe Eovaldi a slightly bit more leash to try to go out and win this thing. If he's pitching, if he gets in a groove early, I could see it going really well for him. At least that's the narrative I'm telling myself. So I would be on over for this one as well.
Terry, over under 26.5 on Eovaldi. Given what you said before, I assume you're going over.
I've got him at 26.02 FanDuel points in the way that my model puts this thing together. So I'm going under. Screw him. But right. I think everything that Eric said probably makes a lot of sense here. The Sox bullpen has a couple capable high leverage arms, but yeah, there's fewer options to mix and match with than what the Yankees bring to the table. I would throw into the mix that Aaron Boone's a terrible manager, so very likely to leave Garrett Cole in there a little bit too long if he gets into trouble. But the concerns about Garrett Cole are a little bit real over the second half. I was just looking at his second half splits, and the walk rate went up from 5% over the first half to 6.6%. The xFIP only went from 2.9 to 2.99. The BABIP went from 272 to 358 over the second half. So there's a little bit of luck and happenstance in there, but he was definitely putting more guys on base via the free pass. So a little bit of concern there. Strikeout rate was level, 33.5, 33.4.
Our boy Cantor thinks that the Yankee goggles are killing you tonight, Terry.
I said I've got Garrett Cole projected for less than 30 FanDuel points. How are the Yankee goggles? I think Garrett Cole's going to be out of here early. I said it's going to be a tight game. We're going to the bullpens, and we'll see what happens.
Well, let's talk hitters then.
I also said Aaron Boone's a terrible manager. What are you talking about?
Over under 7.5 fantasy points for Aaron Judge.
I will take the over on that. If anybody's getting us there, it's going to be Judgy tonight. But I like he's one of the leaders in my model in terms of my overall FanDuel projection, in terms of my home run model for the Yankee side of things. Hitting second, one of the best hitters on the team, a guy who walks 11.8% of the time, 57.9% hard hit, 17.6% barrel rate. These are league leading numbers, 39 home runs on the season. So yeah, Judgy has a very, very good shot at going over that one.
Eric, 7.5 on Judge.
Give me the over. Aaron Judge. I mean, you also get 9 innings, so they get the road bump a little bit too. So Aaron Judge is my favorite hitter from the Yankee side. Gallo, if you could consider Price, but Aaron Judge for the season. Do I really need to explain 579x slugging, 302x batting average, 413x WOBA? Those are all stupid numbers. Against Eovaldi, against the best arms here in the Boston Pen, it doesn't matter. I still like Aaron Judge a lot in this spot.
Bogart's over 6.5 or over 6. Sorry, just 6. Well, again, this is Prize Picks, by the way, everybody. Prize Picks.
Yeah, this is probably the one hitter from the Boston side I hope doesn't completely burn me. 6 is a low number here going up against Garrett Cole, but it's just a stay away from me. If I had to do anything, I'd probably be shorting Xander.
Okay. Terry, 6 on Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, I tend to think that these better hitters on the Red Sox side are going to get at least a little bit of their job done. We're going to see some guys on base. We're probably going to see some run scoring, not to any extremes, but I think that's relatively low. So if he gets on base, comes around to score, I think that's easy enough. Drives in a run from the cleanup spot. I think we're there. So yeah, I'll take the over on that one.
All righty, guys. Once again, Prize Picks, the presenting sponsor of this show. Really happy to have them. Hope you guys enjoyed those picks, because now we are on to talk a little bit about the Boston Red Sox. They do not look as good just on a projection basis in comparison to the Yankees. They get the more difficult pitcher. And honestly, I think the lineup isn't as good as the Yankees lineup. So they're in a tricky spot, but they do have the benefit of home field advantage. Eric, I'll start with you. Who stands out the most to you from the Boston Red Sox lineup?
Well, I mean, Devers stands out, but he's 10-6. I mean, it's just like, for me, it's such a price issue for a lot of these bats. When I say Xander is my least favorite bat from this game, it's because he's 10-2, and I would rather make way for Rafael Devers if it's going to be only like a nominal 3% difference. You do get those cheap bats, and it's very easy to look at ownership and see, hey, Verdugo, Arroyo, Plawecki, those 3 specifically, garnering a ton of attention simply because they're under 6K. You can play both pitchers, and it's a secure way to go. But I am just loading up with Hunter Renfroe and Kyle Schwarber at the captain spot. I'm loading up with them in the utility spot. For me, it's just so much power. It's such low ownership compared to, in a 1-game sample size. I don't care who it is. Obviously everybody wants to go to Devers. He's going to be the most expensive and difficult to fit, but Schwarber leading off here, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. And we know the amount of power in his bat, 551 expected slugging, Devers 553. I mean, they're basically the same situation as far as just straight up power goes. So I want a lot of Schwarber. Verdugo makes sense as a price play for me, but then Hunter Renfroe also, even against righties, been much, much improved this season. 495 expected slugging here on the entire year against both sides. I love getting to him too.
Terry, who stands out most to you from the Boston Red Sox? And no, your answer can't be no one.
They all suck. Don't roster any of them. No, look, this is honestly, to me, you said that this is a better team. I might quit, or that the Yanks are a better lineup. I might quibble with that. Just going by WRC plus, let's say the entire Red Sox lineup above average by WRC plus for the season, an average WRC plus of 17% above average in run creation. On the Yankee side, the bottom 5 hitters below average in run creation, 103 WRC plus average for the starting lineup for the Yanks. Not as good creating runs, a little bit less power throughout the lineup, at least as they string it together. So there's a few hitters in this Yankee lineup that I would gladly trade for a few hitters in this Red Sox lineup. And obviously, I'm not thinking like Andrew Velasquez for Rafael Devers. I take it. But,
I was going to say, man, I got a couple trades I'll make too, man.
Yeah.
So I think there's some super interesting hitters in terms of the power upside, though. Eric mentioned one of them a minute ago, Kyle Schwarber. Would it shock either of you guys if Kyle Schwarber led this game off with a home run? It wouldn't shock me. Yeah. No. Garrett Cole, we've got some concerns about the power that he gives up. Guys don't make contact with him all that frequently, 14.5% swinging strike rate. But when he does give up contact, 9.8% barrel rate, 38.6% hard hit, 12.5 degree average launch angle. There's a little bit of home run trajectory there, and we've seen it happen to him. So wouldn't surprise me there. Schwarber, my leading player on either team in terms of my home run model. So that's a little teaser maybe for later on. Another extreme home run hitter at the bottom of the lineup, Bobby Dalbeck. Third in baseball in barrel rate if we adjust for 450 plate appearances for the course of the season. The hitters around him are Shohei Ohtani, Fernando Tatis, Joey Gallo, Aaron Judge, super duper stars all surround this kid in terms of his hitting ability. He is an extreme power hitter. He's also a guy who next season is going to double his walk rate, probably 10-12% walk rate for this kid next season. star in the making in terms of his power hitting ability. 25 home runs in 453 plate appearances this season, 254 ISO, 48.1% hard hit rate, 20.2% barrels. Ridiculous.
So using Steamer's weighted runs created plus for each hitter, I have the Red Sox lineup at 111, and I weight this for plate appearances. So Schwarber is going to count more than Christian Arroyo. 111 for the Red Sox, 115 for the Yanks. So slight edge. Obviously, getting to face Eovaldi over Cole certainly helps for the Yankees too.
Yep, and I have the Yankees, just to clean that up, I do have the Yankees lineup projected as the average projection is higher by a point and change than the average projection of the Red Sox lineup. So my model agrees with you projecting-wise. What I was going by was like season-long stats in
I hear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was
I
like the only
new,
piece of data
we got to clean it up for the others listening.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there any Red Sox hitters that you would be willing to roster that you think end up pinch hitting into this game and maybe sticking around?
That's a good question. Let me, Eric, you got an answer on that one?
I'm looking at it. Christian Vasquez is the only one that Travis Shaw could come in for Dalbeck if you're looking at a situation where you need the lefty, but I think they probably still stick with Dalbeck. 509 X slugging as opposed to 382 for Travis Shaw in the season. And, Travis Shaw, other than having that Grandy game winner however many months ago, it's still just been another bad subpar Travis Shaw kind of season. So I think he would be the main one to look at. I think what you're going to see more than likely is pinch running. You're going to see something like Connor Wong or Arouse is the other guy that's out there. He's a second baseman. He could come in for Arroyo, but I doubt it. I think the Boston side, there's less pinch hitting risk. It's pretty straightforward, Odor and Sanchez from the Yankee side.
Okay.
Vasquez was really bad towards the end of the season. That's kind of my main thing. Like he would be the guy, but I don't see it.
Yeah, and the other guy to throw into the mix from the Red Sox side would be Jarren Duran. But I agree, it would be a pinch runner type of role, or maybe you see like a defensive replacement type of role, which I think would be the same story with Jonathan Aruz.
Highest projected guy that I have in the Red Sox lineup, unsurprisingly, Devers and then Schwarber. Schwarber just being at the top of the lineup is so massive. Those extra plate appearances, you're basically gaining like 0.1 plate appearance for every spot in the order. Or might be a little bit more than that depending on which spot, but like that's great for Schwarber. I'm fascinated by this entire game. This game might actually get me to watch baseball today, which I probably shouldn't say.
Would this be the first game of the year? Yeah,
I haven't watched a baseball game this year. I watched a little bit once I came back from quarantine last year, just because we didn't have anything else to do.
Oh, KBO was the sweat.
Was that KBO? Yeah.
No, I did not watch any KBO. Did cover it, however.
2:30 a.m. out here on the West Coast. Those were the days, man. You just get lit and then you just watch baseball until you fall asleep. Welcome to pandemic style out here in Cali. My God.
You were catching a break. I was doing that the other way around, staying up through the night or sleeping and then waking up for 4 a.m. lock on this side of the coast.
Falling asleep watching baseball. I'm not sure I'll see whoever throws out the opening pitch. So this is in Boston. I wonder who's throwing out the opener. Like, that's I bet they tried to get somebody like, I don't know, Wahlberg or something.
Yastrzemski or something.
Ed Williams, frozen head.
If only. Chat, if anybody knows who's throwing out the first pitch tonight, let us know. It doesn't matter at all, but I'm just curious about it. Is there anything else that we should touch on from the Red Sox bat side of this game?
No, JD Martinez is at least worth mentioning. It's a big bat out of the middle of this lineup from the right side of the plate. JD got banged up a little bit, just like DJ LeMahieu did on the other side. So those two guys not available tonight. Don't roster them under any circumstances.
Bad day for J's and D's, I guess.
Yep.
I don't have anything else for the Red Sox. We have a little bit more to talk about. I do want to touch on our promo code first before we do anything. That would be MLB live before lock. One gigantic word. You'll end up seeing it on the screen, I would imagine, if Jordan Klein didn't fall asleep. I can't see you right now, Jordan. I just have my screen minimized, so it's not that I actually think that you're asleep. I just have no idea. If you use the promo code MLB live before lock, you'll get an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. That will cover projections, ownership, Slack, lineup builder, top stacks, top pitchers, top stacks, They exist in multiple shows, but either way, or in multiple sports, but either way, you get everything. It's not just MLB because it's in the promo code. You get access to everything we have. 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right. This is the part that I think a lot of people in chat have been waiting for. Dong pick time. That's where we're at right now. We got to give our home run picks. I'll start now. You know what? I'll go last. I don't want to take anything else because you guys are actually bringing the good analysis here. I'm just along for the ride. Eric, I'm going to start with you. Who dongs today?
I mean, Kyle Schwarber. If you go over to our MLB player props tool again, Kyle Schwarber plus 400, 23% expected win percentage. We basically at Awesemo have him hitting a home run 1 out of every 4 times. And I'm assuming that might have been with him assumed in the 2-hole. He's leading off here tonight. He's going to get that extra perhaps at bat. Kyle Schwarber is just such a good bet to be able to do it tonight. Looking at the expected win percentage, I mean, that's going to be higher than just about, and yeah, it's the highest in the game by far. Giancarlo Stanton actually 2% behind him, but love getting to him. He's going to hit a dong here for sure. And I mean, we have one game. The contrarian stance would just say, hey, no dongs, but Kyle Schwarber is going to do it for us.
Terry, who's it going to be? I pray that I believe you before you said Schwarber was tops in your model. I really hope you're taking a Red Sox in this.
I was about to thank Eric for taking Schwarber for me so I didn't have to take a Red Sox. But I mean, look, if I'm going purely by my model and what that's spitting out, absolutely. Rafael Devers is number 2, hitting 3rd in that lineup. He's got an 11.03. If everybody's been following along all season, 10's the magic number in my model, right? Where you get a little bit of an above average chance. The highest hitter on the Yankees is Joey Gallo with a 7.46. But my guy, I was going to go super homer and just take Aaron Judge here, which I'm still going to do. Aaron Judge coming in at a 6.98, but he's got a 57.9% hard hit on the season, 17.6% barrel rate. Both of those are tracking out ahead, I think, of everybody on the Red Sox. So I'm going with my metrics there. Well, Bobby Dalbeck, I mentioned better barrel rate. Give me Aaron Judge for the home run and for the Yankee win.
As much as I love a dong in the 2-hole, I'm going to look a little bit differently.
You guys
for
are
this
literally
one.
all the worst. I hate my life. It's fine.
I'm going to go to my number 3 in my home run model, and that would be Aaron Judge. And I promise you, I will be cheering against said home run.
Good.
I mean,
I can't be cheering for the Yankees, man. I got to be able to send a text tomorrow to my dad and tell him go Red Sox. He's a Yankees fan. And oddly enough, go ahead, chat. Have at it for this one. I'm not even making a joke. My actual father is a Yankees fan, not Terry, who is also a Yankees fan.
I realized the joke was there halfway through saying your poor dad. I was like, oh, right.
I didn't realize it either when I first brought it up. Yeah. So I assume people are going to enjoy that. But yeah, the dong and the 2-hole joke is one that we need to keep around or make a t-shirt or something for, because that's pretty good.
I hate everything. I have like one of these a show now. I don't know what's going on the last like week, but it's you guys. It's the chat. It's everything. Now Lofty's in my brain over saying good times every other word, whatever. I'm done with it. I'm just getting my
hung up on.
We all have our vocal tics on these shows. I bet chat could light me up with 10 things I say constantly. Same for Lofty, same for everybody. When you talk and talk and talk and talk again, you just start using the same shit over and over.
Absolutely.
Ben Rasa, that's neither here nor there. How about that?
Yeah. Look, we all have them. And the problem is I do too many shows with too many different people, and I start appropriating everybody else's like taglines and go-to phrases.
I actually really enjoy watching different phrases like track through our different shows and like, people picking up different things that like, somebody you do a show with Eric and then like Lofty's all of a sudden saying it 2 weeks later. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. By the time we get to the end of the NBA season, Lofty and I are just saying the same shit over and over again.
So shout out to Josh in a real way. So I was trying to do like these video on demand videos like forever ago. This is like when I first started at the company. I literally just watched your videos because I thought you did them the most effectively. And I straight up copied it. I copy your intro on every one of my video on demands and nobody's ever noticed it. Neither have you probably, because I can't imagine you've watched any of my video on demands, but just shout out to you because I thought you did such a good job with it. I flat out copied because, bad or good artists imitate, great artists copy.
That would be like a great spot for me to jump in and thank Josh and tell him that, the thing I'm looking at, the dashboard here is still like an exact copy of what he used to show on baseball shows a couple of years, but I'm not going to.
You're his dad. You raised him as.
I'm enjoying this, everybody. Please continue to verbally fillet me for the rest of this show. It's fantastic. I love it a ton. I love it a ton.
Hey, is it worth mentioning that if we get there, this is a standard old school extra innings format? There's no stupid runner on second base to start the inning rule in this format?
Oh, that's fun. I had no idea. That's good. I prefer it this way. I prefer it the soccer way. I think they should just tie and play again.
No.
Yeah, no. These things need to go as long as they can get to these sudden death innings. I mean, that's where these sports get interesting. That's why I hate that rule. It's just stupid. It ruined extra innings through the regular season. I'm really glad they don't have it for this. It's kind of like how hockey does overtime in the playoffs. Hockey overtime is the greatest thing ever when it goes 3-4 OTs in a playoff game. Oh my God,
the best.
Tony A says we need to hit 200 likes. I agree. Hit that like button if you haven't done it already. Eric, I'm going to start with you because obviously I don't even have to ask Terry this question. Who wins tonight?
Let's go Boston 7-1.
Wow. I'm not even going to make it close. Jeez.
Boston.
Terry, you want to come back with 7-0 Yankees just to feel a little bit better?
No, I'm going like a 5-4 Yankee squeaker late. I think it's going to be pressure packed classic Yanks Red Sox type game.
6-2 Yanks. I'm not going to be happy about it. I just think they're the better team. Darius Mills. If I could give you a free year of Awesemo Plus, I would do it. So Josh Engelman has the best promo cuts. He should cut promos for AEW. I can't explain to you what an honor that is for you to say. That makes me so happy. So happy.
You're good.
Do they mean
You're
like
good.
you should be doing their advertising, or like you should be in the ring cutting their promos, like, calling out guys from the locker room to like come beat the shit out of you or something?
I mean, I'm down for both. If they want me, they could have me. I would happily show up. That works for me. Either way, I'm in. I'm fully in. I'm honored. I wish that I can get. I need to like screenshot that and get it on a T-shirt or something.
Who runs that?
We made it, guys.
Not Vince. Who runs that?
We did.
Tony Khan.
I don't know who that is. I don't know why I asked.
Don't know who that is.
If you'd said like Eric Bischoff, I might have had a chance.
He's a co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars as well.
Oh, okay.
And Fulham soccer team, who are not currently up. They are in the championship, but proud team for one Andy Glockner, if you're watching. Guys, we actually made it. It's 8:04.
Nice. There we go.
I don't have anything else to add.
Thanks to Terry for thanks for joining the fray, my guy. I mean, honestly, Josh and I together for a baseball show for an hour, it wouldn't have been the same without having some of that Yankee fervor in here for us to just completely bag on and dog on. But 7-1 Red Sox, I apologize ahead of time.
Got to get the homer picks in when we can. But it was fun being here, guys. It's I shoehorned my way in, like I said, but hopefully I added something and it was a blast hanging out with you guys. That's why I wanted to do it.
It was great having both of you guys here. Thank you guys all for being here. Let's go watch some baseball. Good luck tonight. Thank you very much to Prize Picks for being the presenting sponsor. And thank you to Jordan Klein behind the virtual glass for producing this show. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow because we got to do it all again.